Okay, let us start the class. In today's class, I'm going to explain Java inheritance. Okay, so these all classes are they are being conducted under my Lakshmi Narayan Krishna Foundation. These are very free classes. Okay, so these are very free classes. They are being conducted thrice of a week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, thrice of a week, 3 days, sharply at 8 p.m. in Zoom and WhatsApp group also. So these are being conducted under Lakshmi Narayan Krishna Foundation. So anybody is interested, they can join my classes. Okay. So now come to the point, Java inheritance. Okay. Java, what is inheritance? First of all, we need to understand what is inheritance. So inheritance in Java, what happened? It is possible to inherit attributes and methods from one class to another. So if a class is there, the class has some attributes and methods. So that attributes and methods can be given to by they can be accessed by other class. Okay. So what is the use of this? You need to write anything. You can get that attributes and methods from the one class and they can be used in your another class. So what happened here? So that from where from where you are getting the attributes and method, that is called your super class, parent class. Okay. So child class means the class which is accessing the attributes and methods of another class, that is child class. Here super subclass, child class, subclass. Super class means from where we are accessing attributes and methods. So in Java, to inherit from a class, here one word we will use, inheritance. Inheritance means you are accessing the attributes and methods from other class. So that is called you are inheriting. You are accessing. In the place of that, we can use the word inheriting. You are inherit from a class the attributes and methods. So here we will use extends keyword. Okay, that is very important. So example, car class is subclass. Car is the subclass which is accessing the attributes methods of vehicle class. Okay, vehicles, so many vehicles are there. Cars are there, lorries are there, and the small mini lorries are there, buses are there. All are vehicle. Even though bike is there, it's a vehicle. Okay, all that vehicles. So vehicle has so many classes, car class. So vehicle is a main class. So it is a super class. Under that, car is a subclass. So the car subclass will inherit the attributes and methods from the father class, that is super class. Okay, here extends keyword will be used. So car class subclass inherits the attributes and methods from the vehicle class, super class. So this is the code. We will practice the code here. Class. So here is a class. Okay, class in Java class keyword will be used vehicle class. And within this braces, flower braces, we need to create this vehicle has class has some attributes. This is one vehicle attribute brand. Okay, brand is what? Brand is a string code. So string in Java, this attribute is created with it is a string type of data type. So string, and it is protected. Okay, protected. I will explain why the protected. Okay, public, private, protected. So next one method. This is the attribute. Brand is an attribute, vehicle attribute. And this is the method, honk method. Honk method, one method. This is the vehicle method. Method is like a function. Okay, it is created inside of a class. So now method is like a function. But whenever it is created inside of a class, that will become a method. So method, which type of void type means this method will not return anything. Void, whenever we use void keyword, it will not return anything. So it is a public method. So this method can be accessed by anywhere. Okay, because that's why it is public. And println system, so println is a method which will be used to get the printout on the display. This is a part of system dot out println. Okay, now up to this is what your main class, one class is defined. This is the super class vehicle parent class. Then after what happened? Your class is this car is a child class, and it is inheriting the attribute, brand, and method from vehicle class. Understood that? So now this car class has one brand name attribute, car attribute. This is called model name. It holds the value string. So this attribute we need to declare which type of data it will hold, this attribute variable, okay, string, and it is declared as private. Here it is protected. That is very important, right? It is protected and it is private. Now this is the main method. This is the main method. This is the main class. Okay, this is the main class. Next, under this main method, to access the attribute and method of this parent class, super class, we need to create an object. Create object for child class. Child class is this object for this child class, car class object. Okay, new keyword. This is the constructor of that class. Now we can call that method mycar.hung, but this method is not child class. Child class is car. But this method honk is declared inside of your main class, vehicle class, super class. Here is the method. Okay. So we are accessing that method and that attribute of this super class, parent class, by creating the object. So just call the honk method from vehicle class and by creating a object. By creating a సార్ కోడింగ్ క్లాస్ నడుస్తుంది. నేను మళ్ళీ కాల్ చేస్తాను సార్. ఈరోజు శుక్రవారం కదా, కోడింగ్ క్లాస్ ఉంది.
సరే సార్, అదే
ఓకే
పాపది.
ఓకే సార్. ఓకే సార్. నేను ఇది క్లాస్ అయిన తర్వాత మాట్లాడతానా?
అలాగే.
ఓకే సార్. ఓకే సార్. సో కాల్ ద honk method. Okay. So we are calling this honk method from vehicle class and by creating an object. I told you that suppose if you want to access any class method, it may be any attribute, any method, if you want to access, we need to create the object first. Okay. So now come to the point next. Display the value of the brand attribute from the vehicle class. So that brand attribute is whose attribute? This is what vehicle class attribute created under vehicle class. This is the brand attribute. So the value of the brand attribute, what is the value of the brand? Ford. Okay, that will be displayed. And the value of the model. Model is where brand is the attribute of your vehicle class. Model name is what? That is the model name of your this car class. Okay. And all that will be displayed on the screen. So here noted we have used protected modifier. How many types of modifiers we have discussed? Public, private, protected. Okay. So why protected? Public modifier, private modifier, protected modifier. Okay. So this way protected modifier vehicle class and protected under the car class. This is private. We have used public, private. Okay. So we set the brand attribute in vehicle to protected. Okay. So if we have set up this to private, the car class wouldn't be able to access. That is the main reason. If you declare this as private, so This attribute can't be accessed by this child class. That's why, okay? The car class wouldn't be, that's why it was declared as protected. So inheritance, when the inheritance will be used, that is what inheritance, whenever you want to reuse the code, you want to reuse means one class has already attributes and methods. You want to take that attributes and methods without creating methods, attributes in another class. Okay. So it is useful for code reusability. That parent class has the attribute and methods. They can be used attributes and methods existing class whenever you want to create new class. No need to create methods and attributes again in your new class. Okay. So that is what the class. So one more thing, the final keyword. Final keyword, generally, if you don't want let other classes to inherit from a class, you don't want to give permissions to other newly created classes. If you don't want to give permission to other classes to inherit, okay, the attributes and method from other classes, you can use the final keyword. That moment code is what before this main parent class, simply you use final keyword. So it indicates that you are not giving any permission to this car class to access the attributes and methods of the main parent class, super class. So that moment, if you have written, you will get this type of error, cannot inherit from final vehicle. Okay, this is somewhat code. So this code we will practice here. Here you can practice. Here, this is the code. Okay. Here you can, this is the online web editor. This is the online web editor. So this is the online web editor. What happens here? You can write the code, delete this code. You delete the total code and you practice here. Otherwise, you install some IDEs. I told you that IDE is what development environment. Okay, so that in that environment, like your Visual Studio Code, VS Code, integrated IDE means extension. IDE is the acronym for integrated development environment, where you can write the code, you can edit the code, and you can compile the code, run the code. So there, so many ideas are there. This is the Visual Studio Code, VS Code. Here you can write that same code. That is what, first of all, you need to create. Just I told you that one class. That class is what? Class keyword. And then first we need to create one main class. That is where vehicle. Understood that? This is the class, main class, vehicle. So these braces are important. This is the one main class created. This vehicle class is a super class. So it has somewhat attributes and methods. So let us create any attribute. Generally vehicle has which type of attributes? Vehicle has some color, has somewhat brand, vehicle has somewhat weight, vehicle has somewhat height, okay, length. These are attributes. Attributes means they are the properties of any class. So create any brand. Brand is what? One variable you have created. And this variable, so it will store some data. That is what here brand is what? Which type of brand? Suppose Renault. Renault is a brand. So once you are, it is to be terminated with semicolon, but this is a string type of data. So this is a variable created. So one attribute is created for this vehicle class. But in Java, first of all, we need to write which type of data it will hold, string type of data. So one property, one attribute is created. You can write comment here, attribute of super class. Which is super class? Vehicle class. In bracket, you can write this is the vehicle class. Okay. Super class vehicle. So this is a single line comment. Huh? So attribute, this is the attribute of superclass what? This vehicle class. That is the superclass means what? Parent class. From where another class will inherit the attributes and methods. So create one method. So to create method, generally we will write word public keyword. Okay. Public void, that is the keyword. Mostly this method will not return anything. So method, that methods are what? I told you that in the previous classes, methods are what? They are the actions of that class. Vehicle, what it does, vehicle has some word action. Every vehicle has some actions. It horns, it runs, acceleration, brake, okay, gear. These are actions of that vehicle. It sounds, okay, it stops. These are the actions. Actions means behavior of that vehicle. They are called methods. So create a method name sound. Sound is a method. Method is like a function. I told you that. Okay. Now, so what happened? Within this method, we need to, this will not return anything. So we will use that system dot out dot println in bracket. So whatever that, anything, if you want to see vehicle, every vehicle sounds what? Okay, horn sounds, which type of sound it gives? It gives somewhat sound. Sound, any type of sound like humming. Okay, this type of sound it will use. So now it is to be terminated. So what we did here, see, one, for this main class, vehicle class, this super class, parent class, under this one attribute, we have created that attribute holds a string value. And then after one method created inside of this class. So this is the method. Okay. You can comment here method of whom? Method of superclass, parent class. Huh? Superclass means parent class. That is what parent means, vehicle class. Vehicle class. Okay. Now, so one attribute created, one method created, method is closed, then class to be closed with one more brace. So from this is the starting of method. So this is the ending of the method. This is the ending of the class. Now you need to create one child class. Okay. Your intention is what? You want to inherit. You are creating a child class. You don't want to write any attributes and you don't want to assign attributes and methods for your child class. So now the child class will inherit all the attributes and methods from where? From the parent class. That is what vehicle class. So we need to take a class, car class. Okay. Vehicle is a super, it has so many vehicles. Cars are there, jeeps are there, buses are there, lorries are there, mini lorry, truck is there. So many, auto is there, vehicle. Okay, car. I told you that extends keyword will be used whenever you want to get inheritance from other class. So extends what? From where? Car extends from vehicle. Okay, car extends from vehicle. So then after, okay, now here this car has somewhat attributes. It has itself some attributes. So for here, brand here, we have used model here. Model name. It will hold string type of data. Which type of model? Renault has a brand. It is a brand, but it has a model Triber. Triber is a Triber. Now terminate one attribute created, one variable created. This is the attribute of this car class. Attribute means one characteristic of that class. Generally, they are the variables which will hold some value. Now, this is a string type of data. So in Java, surely we first declare this as a string type. Okay, string. Okay, this is one more attribute of this car class. Now, what happened if you want to get all that, you want to access this attribute and this method of this super class, and itself has this child class as a model name. So you want to access them, you need to write that code. You need to first of all main method. That is what, okay? Main method is how public static void. This is the syntax. Main method. See which type of main method, any main method, okay? And then after here, you need to write some one type of what? Method always has the brackets, okay? Then after braces. This is the main method. Now, inside of this, some statements we need to write here. That is very important. That statements, generally default statements, you need to write, okay? See, so here, where this is what? Public static void main. This is what string arguments. This is the statement you need to write. You copy, okay? And come here, you paste string, okay? This is a string array. The symbol is what I will explain in the later classes. This is what already in the previous classes also I have explained why these arguments, why, okay? The string is an array. Okay, now here inside of this word, you need to access. Why main method I have told. Why this is small and why class main class is. Why I have not written any access specifier for this class class. Okay, you can write here public. Okay, if you don't write any access modifier, if you have not written any access modifier, generally there that will be considered as default. Okay, that already I have told in access modifiers, public, private, protected, default. Okay, so now here, this whenever you run this code, Java compiler looks for the main method from where the code execution will be starting. Java compiler looks for the main method. Then after whatever the line of code written inside of this main method, that will be executed. So here what we want to get what system dot you copy this system dot. Why do no need to write the code here again? You write, you copy, okay, and then see here we want to get what one is that brand. Which type of this is what, okay? We want to get this brand. So here we will keep the word brand name, okay? So then after plus, we will use we will call this attribute as it is. We will call this brand as it is. Okay. So what happened? Now the brand is what? Ronald. That will be displayed. That will be displayed. Okay. And if you want to call this method also, that will be displayed. But before this, one thing we need to do, that is what? Your object creation. Without the object creation, we can't access this attribute, this method of any class. If you want to access them, you need to create the object. For which class? We want to inherit the attributes of vehicle class of brand sound method attribute. For this child class, we want to access from here, from the superclass. So for this car class, I need to create inside of this main method, I do need to create the object. First, which class? Syntax is what? For class car, and then object name, any object. Simply you write object, your name, my name, there is no is equal to new keyword. That is very, again, class name. This is the constructor of the class, and terminate with the semicolon. Understood that? Now what happened? We have created an object for this car class. By this object, we will we will inherit this attribute and method of this superclass. So here we need to, this brand will be accessed with the object name. What is the object we have created? Object dot. Object of created for this car class, and by this object we are accessing the brand attribute of this vehicle class. Okay. Now then after we will, if any error is there, and we will check back that. So question is what, if, let us see what happened. First of all, see, this is very important. Main class created, main class closed, method created, method closed. Inside of this vehicle superclass, one method, one attribute created. For this is what you, for your this extends whatever. Okay. And this is the one attribute created for this car class. It is closed. Inside of this main method, so inside of this main method, the main method is closed. So then what happened? So see, so if this code, whether it is not executed, so then we need to fix it. That is your skill, capability. So whether if any error is there, we need to check back that. So run this code, whether it is executed. What happened? Actually, this code to be executed, whatever the code I have written, Java compiler, it needs to read that all the code, and if any errors are there, it needs to intimate me so that I can correct the code, whether I have written the proper code and